Chef Joe Abuso recently stopped by after he spent some time in Italy and decided to share with me a special recipe for the Italian dessert, tiramisu.
Okay, like any dessert, if you get like a frozen version or something, it's not going to be so hot. But if you make it from scratch, or you have it from somebody who's made it from scratch, it's going to be a lot better.
Yeah, because I'm thinking I've had it in some restaurants where it's supposed to be from scratch.
Well, just like chocolate cake can be really excellent, or it can be pretty nowhere. It's the same thing with tiramisu. So, in fact, what I've done today is kind of a simplified version, because the original tiramisu has raw egg yolks in it, which bothers some people, or if you cook them, to cook the egg yolks is kind of tricky. So I've got kind of an eggless version. It's still really good. It still has the same flavor as tiramisu because it has the main ingredient, which is this mascarpone cheese from Italy. And
really, when I came up here and I looked at it, there aren't that many ingredients for this. So it looks fairly simple. It
is really simple. In fact, there's no cooking. And you can do it, it's better if you do it a day ahead of time, in fact.
Really?
So it's the perfect thing to do if you're having people over. You can do it like on a buffet, like a big platter full of them. You can do little individual ones like we have over there.
That one looks so good.
That does look good. I've bought some for everybody. But let me, we can get started. Okay, we can get started. Again, this is a kind of a simplified version. It's not the traditional version, but it's really just as good, and it's way, way easy. So you start out, if you have a mixer like this, it's ideal.
But what if I have one of those little hand buddies?
A little hand thing works fine. I mean, even a metal bowl with a whisk works fine.
Okay.
But this is easier, and it's the closest I come to playing with power tools, so I like to use it. So the first ingredient, mascarpone cheese, which is kind of an Italian cream cheese. It tastes a lot like cream cheese. It looks a lot like cream cheese, but it's got a much tangier flavor. You want to taste a little bit, in fact?
Can I find it at my local grocery store?
You absolutely can. A couple of years ago it was hard, but now it's pretty easy. If you can't find it good,
it tastes a little bit better in the tiramisu.
Well, with sugar and vanilla and everything, it tastes better. But if you don't, if you can't get this, or maybe you don't like it, for instance, I wasn't looking for that reaction at all, Yolanda. That's the last thing I let you taste in front of the camera. You can use cream cheese. Maybe you like cream cheese there. But wait till you taste the final product.
That's what it tastes sort of like a little.
Kind of like a tart cream cheese. So I put the mascarpone in there. I put a little sugar in there. I've got the exact amounts on the recipe.
Okay, so this is real sugar? I mean,
I'm using powdered sugar. Yeah. You can also use granulated sugar. It's fine. So a little bit of sugar, a little bit of vanilla extract.
So powdered sugar, vanilla extract.
Mascarpone, everybody's favorite cheese. And then we whip this up a little bit until it kind of gets smooth. It'll just take a second with this with a hand mixer.
If I was doing it with a hand mixer,
same thing. It'd take a little longer until it all gets incorporated. Then a little heavy cream. The mascarpone is so rich, you actually lighten it up with heavy cream. Anytime you're lightening something up with heavy cream, it's a sure sign you're talking about something that's really rich. So kind of slowly add the cream. It doesn't have to be super slow, but it works better if you do it slowly.
So, and that cream sort of thins it out, Jeff?
Well, initially it thins it out, and as we let it go just a little bit more, it'll actually turn into kind of a soft whipped cream. It'll just take a minute.
So how soft does it need to be?
I kind of picture whipped cream, kind of like whipped cream, except it's going to have a little more, it's going to be a little heavier than whipped cream because of the mascarpone. In fact, it's done.
Okay.
So that's that.
Let me take a look at it so I can see what it's supposed to look like.
Let me show you what it's supposed to look like.
See, that's why I can't fool with those things. It's too much.
Is that why?
No, probably because I just don't like cooking.
That might be part of it. But if you can see, it just kind of soft peaks.
Okay.
I'm not going to let you taste this now.
No,
you have to wait for the finished product. So next step, that was the cream part, the mascarpone cream part. Next part, you can get a casserole dish or any kind of dish really. Lady fingers. You can just buy them in a store. They come in packages just like any other cookie.
And you just lay them down on the bottom?
In there. Then I get some really strong coffee. You can kind of mush them, it's fine too. Really strong coffee. To that I'm going to add a little dark rum. If you want to do a non-alcoholic version, you certainly can. I don't usually prefer a non-alcoholic version, but that's just me. A lot of personal problems I'm working through, and this seems to help as much as anything. So a little dark rum, a little Kahlua, which is like kind of a coffee-flavored liqueur, in my strong coffee. Then I get a little brush, and I just kind of paint the lady fingers.
Okay.
So I kind of moisten them, because they're real crunchy and dry, but you kind of moisten them up with this coffee
So if I were doing another version, what would I use instead of these ingredients?
You really could just strong coffee works fine. You can use decaf if you'd like. But traditionally, basically like coffee. I wouldn't use cappuccino because cappuccino has milk in it, dairy, but just black coffee. And that's really one of the main flavors in tiramisu is coffee.
So paint them. I want to put this up at the camera so people can see how the colors transform just a little bit.
And
It's gotten a little darker.
Soak them through pretty well. Then I get my mascarpone cream.
And you layer it.
And basically all you're doing, you're kind of making a trifle. If it was an English dessert, you'd call it a trifle. But you're just going to layer the coffee and booze soaked lady fingers with mascarpone cream, really. The cream part is the part that would normally, like traditionally, have raw eggs in it.
Okay, but because we decided not to put the eggs in it, we layered. Did we put more? Because you know I'm kind of an expert on tiramisu, since I've had it out at restaurants a little bit. You put the lady fingers on top,
and then some shaved chocolate, and then another layer of lady fingers.
It seems really simple.
It is really simple.
Because you know, good desserts.
And then more of this stuff.
Then paint it a little bit.
And you want them soaked pretty much.
And Joe, tell me, what is this stuff we got over here in the corner right here?
That stuff in the corner is just dark cocoa.
Dark cocoa.
Cocoa powder. And we're going to put that on the very, very top.
And that's sort of for decoration to give it that added, little pizzazz.
It's for decoration, and it's got a lot of flavor. It really does. And be a little careful if you're too. I'll show you how we put it on in a second. If you're too generous with that stuff, it really can almost gag you. It's so dry.
No, we don't want it to gag us. We only got about a minute left, Joe, and I want to make sure we get this looking real good.
Top layer. More of this stuff.
And it's better if you make this, you said, the day before.
Absolutely.
Put it in the refrigerator.
And kind of let it set up. Almost there.
And that's when everything kind of soaks through.
The flavors all kind of meld together.
Mm-hmm.
Go. And then, now part of the reason we use the cocoa, you can see, I call that a rustic presentation, or you could just say sloppy. But if you put the little strainer.
That's what the strainer's for.
That's what the strainer's for.
And that way it makes it look pretty when you cut it.
Bingo. And it kind of hides the fact that the cream's kind of lumpy looking.
Okay.
And there's your tiramisu.
And there's your tiramisu.
And there's a pretty one on a plate.
And this is how it looks once you cut that piece of puppy.
Like an Abuso catering, that when we do it as a individual dessert, it ends up looking like that. But that's how we start making it.
Joe Abuso, again, you've just like amazed me. And I should be able to do this at home.
You should.
And everybody else
or call me.